Okay, so we've gone through the code and what essentially every piece of code means, and now let's just go through it in terms of the debugger. We can just go through each section and then work out how it actually works in practice. So with actual code flowing through it. So if we go, we've been into that, we've gotten the data for the top root node. Whoops. Oh, I guess that's because I had the debugger paused on that line for quite a while. Let's run that again. Hopefully it works. Right, login works. Okay, cool, we got a data. Okay, so let's just look a little bit into the data first. So you can see here, essentially the root node contains all this data. So you can see the node here, and you can see the name, because it comes in a form of a pandas data frame. So you can see here market itself is an empty data frame. It's got these columns but no data in them. So you can see that section below here where I talked about how either the node is empty, then we assume it's data. If it's not empty, we assume it's just no data in there. So market data, no market data. Okay, so we have this template now. So if we go into that, we're basically then we're stripping out the node list or the nodes, putting them here, and the names here. That way they both should be correlated in terms of ID list position. So 0, 0. So you can see a 0, 0, 1, 1. Yeah. And then we create a set. A set. So for those of you who don't know what a set essentially is a little bit like a dictionary, but only it can only hold unique values. So for example, if I had a value of 1 being paired with a no, let's say I had a value of 1 and then I wanted to put another 1 into this set. The set would look at the existing values in there and say that, okay, a 1 already exists. We're not going to keep another 1, so we'll just ignore the number you've given us. So that number will still be in the list. So it only contains unique values, so no duplicates. So we're then now going to the recurse function, and you can see here the node list is populated with data, so obviously it does not equal 0, so therefore we can say let's get the latest one, that being that number, and we're getting the latest name in terms of the list. So you can see is options on metals and energies. Oh, okay. Options on metals, yeah, okay. So we then go into that. We've then added that to the set saying, okay, we visited this node, so we're not going to visit this node again. You see it's there. All right, so this function is I don't think I spoke about this before, but essentially these are capped functions that essentially connect to the IG API, the one I acquired from GitHub. I'll show that. It was the REST API that I showed you earlier. So this section, this was all really acquired from GitHub. You can just copy and paste the code in, or copy and paste the project, and then essentially just write your own code in another project file. And this reference this from the imports. So that being here. So from trading.config. Yeah. Okay, so if we go back to here, you can see here, we're then fetching the node by node, and you can see this is the kind of logic here. That gives us another map of data. So you can see again, nodes is populated, we've got IDs, and we've got names, and the market itself is empty. So if we do go into that, one other thing in link in kind of that function, there are occasions where the IG API or the IG service will say we've made too many requests, and if that's the case, we then go back into the login function. And essentially what that does is it does that thing I talked about earlier where we increment the API to check if it works. Then if it does work, we go into it. We then create this IG service object, which as we've served it as global, it means that the IG service object is global, so it's accessed anywhere in this script. So that way, when we do go back into this function, because we've got a while loop linked to it. So create an error, try another API key, come back here, we get the data, return this object. So you can see here, blah blah blah. You can see that the node size, the node size. You can see we've actually got data in here, so it doesn't actually equal 0. So we go into this else statement, which we strip the names and the list, and then we go into this recursive function again, so we then drill down into that deeper. So we keep doing that, we're adding that to the list, so you can see now our node has 2 items here, so one from that previously and then now a new one, and we're basically getting node again. So you can see we're drilling down more. And since we kind of get the gist of this, why don't we go here and just let the code run until we reach that point. Okay, great. So, alright, so you see here we've got some actual data. So you see we've got data here, we do up columns. So you can see we've got this data here. So I believe these are options. That's why it says so many. Yeah, so if we go into this a bit more further, so if we get details about this, so if we say data string, you can see we've basically converted this whole bit into a string. So let's do it as more dictionary, it might be easier to view. Alright, so another thing is IG returns these objects back in a munch, which essentially is it's like a JSON object, a JSON object being more of a dictionary, but this munch object allows it to be more compact. It's an easier object to send and it's more lightweight. So you can see here we have all the details, margin requirements, the last high, low, bid offer, just any other info, whether it's available, whether it's tradable currently right now. So it has a bit of useful info, opening times and such and such. And essentially we save this to a file, that being this file. Let me close that file. So file reading is fairly simple in Python. Essentially, you got a function, you got a directory link here. You want to check if your OS has that path of the directory. If not, make that path, put the file there as a name, Give the file name a directory and file name, ensuring that you've got that forward slash, and then you just write that to the file. Um, yeah, file name's there, open it, write that content to the file, adding a new line, so you make sure it's separated by a line, then you close the file, and yeah, pretty simple. And then you pop out the name, so we visited that branch. Let's try the next one. And I think since IG has roughly um, has about nearly 20,000 instruments, there's quite a bit of data to chug through, so you really just want to let this program run and just kind of see what happens from there. I'll just run this one more time, see if we get anything. See, you got data again. Okay, let this run. You see an error occurred. Login was an issue. We then go here, go there, and we got data. Yeah, so you can see we just kind of, oh, there's an error login there. Let this run. Yeah, I just let this program run. It does take quite a bit of time. It takes about a day or two, no, roughly a day if you've got like a normal PC, to run through all the data, to get all the stuff you need, and